But we'll jump into the Democratic primary race. And the last time we spoke, there were still 10,000 candidates, marking their time trying to get a piece. But it turns out we're down to two now. The moderate wing swinging behind Biden in a fairly big way, I would say. And unless there's a big surprise that occurs or something out of left field happens for Bernie, it looks like Biden's going to be taking that nomination out.
Well, it's quite incredible. In just a matter of days, we saw the field shrink, and now an almost certain winner in Biden for the nomination. And you would wonder, with the next couple of conferences, whether or not Bernie would go on much past that, particularly if Biden has huge wins.
It's interesting because there's that. They're both flawed candidates in big ways, obviously. I mean, they've got their strengths, but they've also got their weaknesses as well. And it seems to come down to this idea of who's best to beat Trump. So Biden is literally, I am the best person to beat Trump. And I guess the ancillary argument being that he can return us to the Obama sort of days of how things were with civility, yada, yada, yada. And Bernie, on the other hand, saying, yep, we're going to beat Trump by, going on with our revolution and whatnot. But I think the startling thing, from the results from the Super Tuesday contest, of course, was that that support that he claimed that he had, Bernie, simply wasn't there. Because they did a lot of, exit interviews with voters and whatnot that voted for Biden, and they're just saying, look, we just want Trump gone. We don't need a revolution right now. And that seems to be potentially where the core of where their voter base will be. And it's probably more likely that they could swing some moderate Republicans behind them with the same message, potentially. Whereas Bernie, as much as we want, progressive stuff coming through and some of his ideas coming through, it may be that his sort of crash through method of supposedly making everything happen at once is not as palatable or maybe even as realistic as what people might think.
I think it certainly isn't very realistic, and to be fair, I think we actually saw the same sort of trend for Bernie last time against Clinton. He was quite strong early on, but he really dropped away in the latter part of the campaign, and I think we'll see that again. Obviously, it's interesting with the noise now being reduced, on the Democrats' side. Biden does look like a clear winner and quite a reasonable leader. So I think that moderate path will be, quite strong.
It's interesting because, we were talking before about the popcorn, entertainment value of seeing Bernie and Trump go at it at a debate. But I actually think that entertainment value will be there with Biden and Trump too, because I can't wait to see it, actually, because it'll just be a lot more hilarious than what I think people are expecting.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Essentially, it's like, the schoolyard rules thing too, because I watched that clip last night of Biden, saying you'd take Trump out in the gym locker room or whatever it was that he said, and just seeing that kind of dynamic play out is hilarious. But at the same time, it's interesting that, like Mike Bloomberg, for instance, in this particular race, he didn't exactly get bang for his buck in terms of turning his money into votes. But maybe, who knows what his real motivations are, or whether I mean, from a financial standpoint, no billionaire likes to lose money, but he's not going to hurt from it. And maybe he thought he did what he needed to do. Who knows?
Oh, who knows? Look, it was quite clear, and we remarked on it 2 weeks ago, that from his opening debate, he didn't look like he actually even wanted to be there. You're right about the spending money. It won't hurt him, but, geez, he could have spent it on coronavirus vaccine or something like that.
Well, the thing is, he still can, I guess.
I guess so, anyway. But, he's a big disappointment.
The only thing I was kind of rooting for Mayor Pete there for a while, only because it kind of felt like an odd choice, but the thing is, he spoke really well, and he could potentially, have another couple of cracks at it given his age. And I kind of had a soft spot for Amy as well, in that Amy Klobuchar as well. But I guess there can only be one winner, and maybe in a normal election cycle, if it wasn't a Trump-type personality, maybe Biden wouldn't have done as well as what he did, and maybe one of these other guys might have been able to do it. But now we've got, a couple of really old white guys in contention, and Bernie was quoted in an interview saying, the other day that it's tough for the public to accept one old white guy, let alone two, if they happen to do a split ticket, for instance.
That's it. But I guess the thing that's in their favour is that they're up against another. Well, I was going to say old white guy, but actually he's an old orange guy. He looks pretty bright to me.
And the funny thing is, Trump's the spring chicken out of all of them. So we'll segue slowly into coronavirus now, and we can use this. The connection here is that there was Bill Maher did a joke recently. I think he was actually half serious when he said it. Is that seriously, if you like Bernie, don't shake his hand, because he's going out and you got to wonder, like from not the the connection there, whether they'd get infected or whatever. But he was trying to make the point that you go out to that many people, and they're all kind of old, and and if they're not on top of their game and healthy, who knows what could happen.
Well, that's right, and that's unfortunately where coronavirus is concentrated.